Well, I'm very excited to be here with you today to introduce you to the Reed Dual. I'm Catherine Pirtle, and you may know that I'm the clarinetist with the Orion Ensemble. I play principal clarinet with the Lake Forest Symphony, and I have been making reeds for over 20 years, for 22 years. And I just thought it would be interesting to share with you a little bit of history about the Dual. I sort of feel like it's a legend and a legacy that we're carrying on by making our own reeds with this incredible machine. As a matter of fact, the Reed Dual itself goes all the way back to Benny Goodman. Benny Goodman had a friend whose name was Saul Rabinowitz, and Saul worked in a hardware store, and he played big band music. He was a clarinetist, and he sometimes filled in with Benny Goodman. And he got to be friends with Benny and would go over to his house and see tables with reeds all over it. And Benny would always be complaining about how he couldn't find a reed to play with. And Saul, being the creative man that he was thinking, well, I need to solve this. And so he decided that he wanted to try to make a reed machine. And so he decided that since he worked in a hardware store and he saw that keys were easily duplicated, that he would try to make a reed machine that was based on that same principle. And so Saul developed a Reed Dual and patented it in 1963, and it is very much, as you can see, it's like a key duplicating machine in the sense that you have a model here. Here's your model reed, and then this is where you're going to put your reed blank, and this will spin around. I will show you later that we will be putting some sandpaper on this part of the machine, and as this spins, it follows the exact profile of the reed blank that is on the machine. Anyway, so Saul patented the Reed Dual, and then he met a man, his name is George Crossman. George was very intrigued with the Reed Dual. George was an amateur musician, and he built computers for the space program. And when Saul Rabinowitz passed away, George took over the patent of the Reed Dual and began to make Reed Duals and continue the legacy, and that was in 1986 that he purchased the patent. So we've been able to have the Reed Dual available through George Crossman since 1986. I started making reeds in 1990, which was, I didn't realize, shortly after he had started making duals for people, and a lot of people became excited about making their own reeds, and in 1990 I thought, well, gee, I'm going to try to make my own reeds. I bought a Dual, and I was amazed at the quality of reeds that I was able to make. In fact, I have a testimony which you can read in the article that I wrote in the Clarinet magazine last year, September 2011, where I talk about getting the Dual, and then I was starting to learn to make reeds, and then I was preparing reeds to play the first clarinet in the Beethoven Sixth Symphony with the Lake Forest Symphony. And I thought, well, gee, I want to have lots of reeds that I have available to try for that concert. So I decided I'm just starting to make reeds, and I didn't feel comfortable with assuming that the reeds that I had just been making were going to be good enough, so I bought 20 boxes of reeds as a backup. And I thought, okay, I'm going to have the greatest reed because I have so many to choose from. Well, I went through all 20 boxes of reeds, and I could not find even one reed that played well enough for a concert. In fact, I couldn't find one reed that I felt like I wanted to practice on either. And I thought, okay, this is a real dilemma. So I decided to see if I could make a reed for that concert on the Dual. And it turns out that I was able to find more than one reed for that concert. And since that point, I was never to buy another commercial reed, at least not a B-flat clarinet reed, because that instance proved to me that my handmade reeds were much better than the reeds that I was buying. So here we go. Through the years, I talked to George Crossman many, many times, just a wonderful man, and I know he was as helpful to others in the profession as he was to me. And so we talked from time to time and talked about the Do-All and how the Do-All sales were going, and I always asked him if he had somebody that was going to take over the business when he passed away. He never gave me an answer for that. Well, last summer, in June, I started receiving some very strange emails on my computer from him. They were like prank emails, and I thought, well, gee, I'm going to contact George and tell him about that. So I emailed George, I called George, and on June 10th, I got a call from his son Marty telling me that his dad had died yesterday. And I was just astounded because George passed away, and it felt like he was communicating with me to tell me that he had left us, but that he wanted me to take over finding somebody to continue making the Do-All. And so I took that upon myself as a clear message from him. And I decided to contact Marty, his son, and ask him if it would be okay that I try to find somebody to take over the company. And he was very happy about that. I talked to Rick Sayre. Many of you know Rick. Rick is a wonderful clarinet repairman in Lombard, Illinois. It's about 15 minutes from my house. And Rick thought, okay, yeah, I want to look into taking over the business. He talked to his brother-in-law, Terry Dolan, and Terry just happened to have retired from a piano player company, and he was the perfect person to take over making the Do-All because he knew how to handle machinery. He knew how to make a very exact machine like the Do-All, and he decided to take over the Do-All. He went to Marty's house. Actually, it was George's house. Marty was there, and he got all the equipment. There were several drill presses, and he was able to get this equipment actually not even a day too late, because Marty was going to get rid of the equipment the next day. So we're very grateful to Terry and Rick Sayre for taking over the Do-All. And now we are starting to be able to offer the Do-All again to clarinetists, and I wanted to explain to you how to make reeds with the Do-All so that you would have a good idea about what to do when you got the machine.